Bronx Mental Hospital.
Bronx Mental,
Which
yeah.
I can't imagine was horrible.
It was. So those are all snake pits, you know. But and she seemed pretty good, you know, pretty mild that day, but she stayed there, and we left. You know, I'm really asking, did she get out of that hospital to take care of the kids from then on? What happened after that?
Oh, you don't know?
I don't know. See,
Oh, you would have stopped counseling them? No, you counseled them after that.
Much later.
Much later.
Much later, so that she must have been released, you know. But it was an up and down relationship. It was tempestuous.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was much later that you started counseling them. Well, I don't know. Al Pearson said that she escaped and tried to kill herself again. I'm fairly certain my dad couldn't get her out for a long time. Like, he lost control of her in there. Like,
Yeah.
I think the state took over,
Well, she was very bright, though. I remember her as a very bright woman.
Yeah.
She was very bright, and she was faster than Dad was. She was much faster, you know.
Did you think she was kind of conniving, or
She was what?
like conniving? Do you think she was
I don't know, but she seemed very quiet,
Right.
but very smart.
right? I mean, for her to get the kids to me is just amazing. That
Because she had a very nice manner,
right?
a very pleasant manner. She's a nice-looking lady, and she very quiet, that sort of stuff. And
Well, I can see, though, if Dad didn't contest it, then
Right.
there's no reason for the state to get involved. And back then, especially, it's going to be assumed that the mother gets the,
Right.
you know. And I always did understand that there was no way Dad could take us. I mean, he's moving
There's
back
no
to New York
way.
City. He couldn't
Yeah.
afford, like,
he couldn't do
really.
it.
And here's the question: we don't even know if she wanted us to go with her, right? Like, apparently she never wanted us in the first place, or maybe she just wanted me because I was so sucked in. Like, we'll never know how she felt about taking us to
Julie,
Vermont.
what would that do to you, though? I'm interested in that. If I felt my mother didn't want me, I would be terribly upset.
Oh, I didn't know until after, because I never understood when she would scream at us that we ruined her life, because I felt for a long time I was the one keeping her alive, because she was living her life through me, and I was
You guys ruined her life, she said?
Yes, that's what she would say. And that's why she wanted to kill herself. But she was so incredibly close to me, and as I was to her for many years, and I was doing everything to keep her alive because it was on me. And so it didn't really make sense. And then why would she say we ruined her life? Because it seemed like I was keeping her alive. And it wasn't until not that long ago, Michael remembers fights and Mom screaming, I don't want kids, and that she didn't want any more kids. But the fact that she, obviously as a kid with no other parent around, right? That's the thing. Like, growing up in that household, there was no other adult. There was no other adult, and then so when your parent tells you, you are the reason I want to die,
Wow.
of course you
Yeah,
believe it. I
sure.
mean, as an adult, you can know that's not the truth, but
Yeah,
you grow up for years and you don't talk to anyone about it, then that is.
Well, Julie, whatever happened to the son he had with Chris?
Well, I think he went off the rails too.
He did?
Yeah, I think he's had big problems in his life. I found a lot of pictures, though, which I was able to send him, which I think made him happier. And my sister, had a horrible life from the get-go. She dropped out of school and jail and prison and violent marriages on both ends. And so she had a pretty horrible life, too.
Well, you guys just never had a very good example.
No,
Yeah.
No. And so, like I said, I went through this really, really hard time.
Oh,
And I have Wyatt, my son, and I'm like, the buck stops here, though, or, able to change that trajectory. But also, I didn't learn a lot of skills about how to be an adult at all. And because I was an adult at a very young age, and so I often act a lot less mature than my son.
Wow.
And
Well,
for better or worse, but I'm trying to give him skills. I'm like, I didn't learn any of these. Like, I don't want you to be as immature as an adult as I oftentimes am. you know, and that's, you know, a direct result of living in that household and having no one to share that with. I had
So-
no one to share that with.
The Vermont experience was pretty bad,
That house was horrible.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I'd go to bed not knowing if she's alive in the morning, and if I
Wow.
looked at her the wrong way, she would rage at me. I don't know how many times she disowned me, more than once. I lived in New Rochelle for 2 summers because she disowned me. My dad set me up. I babysat. I can remember coming back from, like, I hated when ski camps were over because everyone would go home and I'd have to go back to that house, and I just hated it. And she tried to kill herself and me driving one time that I remember
Wow.
that failed. But you know, I've kept a journal since 15, and it's all in there, you know. So, but I didn't start talking about it till. So it's interesting. Right before she killed herself, she had exploded to me on the phone because I used to call her when I knew she wasn't there and leave messages, and so she exploded because she knew that, exploded at me. You know, I'm a piece of shit. I'm all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm done. And I was doing really well in my career. I was in a solid relationship. And I remember writing her a letter saying, because I'd never, ever once stood up to her. Not once. In college, I remember visiting her and she's making spaghetti and Tom was there and she's getting ready to put sauce on the pasta. I'm like, it's okay, I don't want any. She takes the sauce, throws it against the wall, screams at me that I always have to be different, storms out. I'm in college. And we're sitting there and we're like, she's gone to kill herself. She didn't come back for 2 days. So anyway, you know, flash forward 5 years and I write her this and I say, I'm sorry I can't be a good daughter. You have no idea what it was like growing up with a suicidal mother. I never say you blame me, like, because that was going to be too much, right? And I go on to say, I'm like, I just can't be normal with you. I just can't. And at the end, of course, then I'm like, you're great at this and this. And it was one of those letters where it took so much to send it, right? Because I'd never once spoken back to her. And a week later, I got this letter, and I was so afraid to open it because all I'd ever had from her was rage. And it said, I'm sorry. And this is someone who never apologized for anything in her entire life. Never. All it took as a kid is her to be like, you know what, I'm really sorry when I said I wanted to kill myself and it was your fault. Like, I'm sorry. That's all it took. One, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And she goes, I'd write more, but my hand is broken because she never had money. And a week later we spoke, and it was a very weird conversation. She asked to borrow money from me, which she'd never done. And I was like, oh, I could only send you half, which I could have sent her more. But she killed herself a week later. So she killed herself probably maybe 4 weeks after I sent that letter.
So how, in a way, Julie, how could you hold your mother? I'm thinking about her now. How could I say, Nina, you did something very bad? She was so upset. She was so screwed up, so emotionally upset. Is she responsible for taking her own life? I think not.
No, she was too mentally ill.
I think there's
She was
no-
extremely
you
mentally ill.
You can't say this is a rational act. This woman was irrational from the word go, and God help her, God's with her, you know. I can't think of, you see, we think theoretically, you know, somebody commits suicide, you know, that's damnation. It's impossible.
I think she tried everything.
Now, do you
Yeah.
think
She really tried
did she ever
everything.
have a psychiatric diagnosis?
We don't know. We think it was bipolar.
Well,
but I don't know
clearly
if she
she's
had-
manic, right? Up and
But
down.
she didn't have manic where she was happy.
Right.
You know,
Only manic
right?
down, yeah.
But she tried, and she was so talented. She became a potter. After us kids left,
Oh, she was smart.
She
Yeah.
became a physical therapist. Like, she tried everything, and then that's why her first line is, no matter where you go, there you are, right? And so I don't know what was going on in Brett. As a child, I can't imagine, like, reading about your own daughter's handwriting of, like, my mother is going to kill herself and it's my fault. Not like, any rational person would be like, I need to help this child, right?
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing to my child. Instead, she disowned me. I don't know if she was so ill that she couldn't even face, you know,
She's
what was
very
going on.
complex.
I don't really know. Like,
She was so smart though, because like,
She
I
was
have
so
this
smart.
relationship with Julie. We've known each other since we were like 12 or 13, and like my picture of your mom was completely functional. So she clearly knew how to disguise it.
She did. She was very, very good at disguising it. And, yeah, but she was a sick person.
Right.
except to us.
Right.
Yeah.
So she could hold it together. She could hold it together when she needed to, and then when she got to with you guys, that's when.
Yeah, she was showbiz.
Right.
When you're on stage, you don't show your real emotions.
Right.
You know, but when you. Now, Julie, are you ready to get something to eat with me?
Yes, let's